dear students, I am Dr. Meenakshi and today I am going to cover the topic training methods. As in my previous classes, I have already covered what exactly training and development and how training need assessment is being done. So today the topic that I am going to cover is training methods. Well, so to start with, first and foremost question that should be coming in our mind, that why there is a need for training and development, why organizations and industries are requiring the training program. So these are the various reasons that due to the cutthroat competition in the market, dynamic market, environmental changes and challenges, organizational complexity, complex human relations, change job assignment, and to match employee specification with the job requirements and organizational needs. So here I can tell you that as the market scenario is continuously changing, there are not many kinds of changes and challenges which keep on taking place in our dynamic market. Scenario keeps on changing. Due to the cutthroat competition in the market, due to the complex human relationships in the organization, because we know that an organization is a place whereby diverse workforce exists, and all these people as an employee, they do have their own thought process, their own ways of doing the things, their own ways of thinking. But whenever it comes to the organization, ultimately all those people, all those employees are to work together to attain the common organizational objective. So, and internal environment, various kinds of job profiles do exist and are being created. So to cope up all those challenges on the job aspects, job criteria, people need to be very, very competent. So to make them more learned and competent also, training is required to match employee specification with the job requirement and organizational needs. So according to the changes and challenges in the organizational setup, similar kind of changes are supposed to be required in the organization, among the people, among the employees, and accordingly training need assessment is being done and training program are being imparted to the people. When we talk about the advantages of training, these are the following advantages of training. All those organizations, all those industries, like we can take the example also, we can take certain names like Reliance Industries, or we can talk about IBM industry, we can talk about Amazon company, we can talk about AT&T, and several other companies. They do believe in conduction of training and development program on a regular basis. And when the organization and industry focus mainly on training and developing their people, so it definitely brings these following advantages. And these are increased productivity, reduced accidents, reduced supervision, and heightened morale. When the employees are continuously getting training and developmental activities, when the employees are continuously getting the attention from the side of the employer in terms of knowledge, in terms of skill enhancement, in terms of learning the cross-cultural activities, in terms of having innovative ideas, in terms of learning about the new products, new services, new technology, new tools. So definitely employees will be feeling much more motivated and inspired, and they will be having the heightened morale. Now coming to the part that what are the different training methods. So to here, methods of training, this slide is basically elaborating the various kinds of training methods. These are the on-the-job training method, and off is basically talking about the methods of training. When we talk about methods of training, these are two kinds of methods out there. One is the on-the-job training method and another one is off-the-job training method. On-the-job training method, as the term is itself referring, that when the employees of any organization or any industry, they get the training program while working in actual work setting, that is called as the on-the-job training. And when we talk about off-the-job training method is consist of where the employees are imparted training at some other place rather than their actual workplace. So here you can see that this is methods of training are being categorized under on-the-job training method and off-the-job training method. And when we talk about on-the-job training methods, these are job rotation, coaching, job instruction, committee assignment, and internship training. And when we talk about off-the-job training method, off-the-job training means where the employees are not getting the training program at their workplace, but rather they are being carried out to some other place which is being created to give them knowledge, to give them information, to give them insight about the new assignments which they have received, or it may be related to a particular machinery, it may be related to a particular tool or technology. And these methods are as follows. Off-the-job training method are as follows. These are the case study method, incident method, role play method, in-basket training method, lecture method, business games, simulation, management education, and conferences. So hope till this part everybody is clear? Okay. So now coming on to the on-the-job training, though I have already elaborated, but again I'm going to explain it, that on-the-job training method is the most common method of training in which a trainee is placed on a specific job and taught the skill and knowledge to perform the present job which has been assigned to them. And the advantages of on-the-job training is, on-the-job method is a flexible method, it is less expensive method, the trainee is highly motivated and encouraged to learn, much arrangement for training is not required. So as the points which are being mentioned in this slide, these narrate that whenever the on-the-job training is conducted, it incurs lesser cost because all the training program is being given to the people at their actual work setting, where they are not only working but at the same time they are also getting the training to perform their job more efficiently and more effectively. So it includes flexible part also, because it may be conducted at any point of time because it is not requiring any special arrangements. Okay, then it is also being conducted at a lesser cost, and of course when the employees will be imparted training in such a manner, then they will always be feeling highly inspired and encouraged, and they will be having more deeper bond with their immediate manager or immediate employer, and their sense of belongingness will also be enhanced, and they will be having a sense of responsibility and sense of loyalty towards their organization. So now the first method which comes under the on-the-job training method is job rotation. Whenever we talk about the job rotation, as the term itself is referring, that the earlier employees are rotated from one job to another job. So this training method involves movement of trainee from one job to another job to gain knowledge and experience from different job assignments. This training method also helps the trainee to understand the problems and issues of the other employees. The question comes that why this job rotation does exist in the organization? Why this is considered as one of the very important and essential training method? Because Job rotation is a phenomena, as I have already explained, that where the employees are rotated from one job to another job, means they are exposed to more than one job, where they get lot of learnings, lot of experiences about various kinds of job, because at times this method is really very essential, whereby it can be applied during any crisis period. It can be applied during any, like you can take the example of pandemic period. That pandemic period, all of a sudden, the organization and the industries were shut down, and employer were having lot of pressure, because for many months all the activities of the organization got stopped, and it was a very a matter of worry that how to accomplish the task on time. And that point of time, many of the workers, many of the employees were already migrated towards their native places, so they were having the scarcity of human resources. So that point of time, this method really works out. That whenever, that if the employee are more talented, they are more exposed to many kinds of job, that in that case employee can handle more than one job. So coming to the next slide, talking about the advantages and disadvantages of job rotation. Job rotation allows manager to see your hidden talents, helps in exploring interest and ideas, motivates all the employees, help them to deal with new challenges, keep away fraudulent practices, and boost the satisfaction. So what happens at times, it is not very, it is not possible for an employer or for the immediate supervisor or for the manager to recognize the talents and to recognize the skill set of the various employees, because in any organization there are a number of employees are working. So I think that personally what I feel, that job rotation is a phenomenon whereby the employer or the immediate manager, they get to know the hidden talents of their people, and accordingly they can utilize their talent, their credential and their potential. Then it also helps in exploring the interest and ideas. That is the best way to explore the interest area of the employees, and of course employees also feel highly motivated, highly inspired, and this is a very well known fact that whenever the organization employees have or feel a deep sense of belongingness towards their organization, towards their employer, then definitely they put forth or they exert their efforts with a lot of passion, because of having a sense of belongingness. And we can say that this is also one of the retention strategies which majority of the organization and industries are currently facing. So these are the various ways to get in touch with your people, with your employees. But we know that every aspect has its pros and cons. So talking about the disadvantages, wastage of time and efforts, employees take time, of course. Employees already get the assigned work, but apart from that, when they get exposed to another kind of activities, another kind of assignments, then they need to devote much more time towards other activities. So it is definitely a time-consuming process. It leads to a whole lot of stress and anxiety. Of course, while performing various kinds of tasks, employees may face stress and anxiety, and it doesn't check the time wasted in all these processes. Now the next part comes is the coaching. As before I start coaching and mentoring, I would like to tell you that these two aspects are really very important aspects from your examination perspective and from your knowledge perspective also, that as a candidate, as a person, as a management student, you really you are required to understand the basic difference between coaching and mentoring. Generally, as a layman, people consider it, use it interchangeably, but as such, as a management personnel, there is a big difference between coaching and mentoring. So to start with coaching, under the training method, the training is placed under a particular supervisor who functions as a coach to trainee and provides feedback and guidance to the trainee about his performance. What does these lines mean? This means that whenever we talk about the coaching, that first and foremost thing, that as a student you all need to keep this thing in your mind, that coaching is always concerned with the job related aspect. There is a big difference between coaching and mentoring. Whenever we talk about the coaching, coaching is always related to the task, whereas mentoring is always related to the development of a person. It is more, coaching is more task oriented. But whenever we talk about a mentoring, it is more towards the personal enhancement and personal growth oriented. So it is one-to-one interaction in coaching. Whenever these are the certain points that you need to keep in your mind, that whenever we talk about the coaching, rather than mentoring also there is one-to-one interaction, but definitely there is a big distinction between coaching and mentoring. I'm repeating again and again that coaching is always related to the task, whereas mentoring is always related to the personal enhancement, personal growth. So in coaching there is a one-to-one interaction considered as corrective measure for inadequate performance whenever any employee is not performing well or there is any drawback in the performance of the employee. So first and foremost activity for a manager or for a supervisor is to know that what exactly are the basic causes that the person is not performing well, and once the causes are being identified, accordingly the corrective measures has to be taken into consideration. Then it helps in identifying weaknesses and focuses on the areas that needs training. So as I have already discussed, training need assessment part. So there you need to, in that process, you need to identify basically the training requirements, that because different people require different kind of training program. At times they may have certain their own personal issues, but whenever there is a requirement of training, then it is the task, it is the essential role of the employer or the immediate manager to look after the issue and immediately taking the corrective measures. Then the next point is what are the basic advantages of coaching? Obviously, coaching also has certain advantages. It's mainly an interactive process, through which managers and supervisors discuss and solve performance-related problem and develop employee capabilities, and mainly help people on 3 aspects. What are these 3 aspects? These coaching activity develops employee KSA, knowledge, skill and attitude. Basically people lack on 3 grounds, either on knowledge ground or on skill ground or on attitude ground. So as an immediate supervisor, as an immediate manager, this is the major responsibility of the person to look after that where exactly the employees are lacking and accordingly taking the corrective action. At times coach is also very much required to look after, because coaching is such an activity where a one-to-one interaction takes place, and as a coach, person is going to give the extra attention to the people. He guides them, he gives them a step-by-step instruction, and accordingly people are supposed to follow those. So basically sorts out some performance-related issues. It fosters a positive work culture. Definitely, all those organizations who continuously believe in different kind of training program conduction or development-oriented program, their employee feel a sense of attachment with the organization, and definitely it creates a positive atmosphere, a positive work culture in the organization. This is a very important slide which is narrating about the various steps which are being taken into consideration in any coaching process. So this consists of 4 steps. The first step is preparation. Second step is discussion. Discussion means discussions with the people, discussion with the employees. Third step is the active coaching, and fourth step is the follow-up. Step first, that is preparation. Effectively coaching requires observation. Goal is to identify the strengths and weaknesses and their impact on behavior and results. After identifying the strengths and weaknesses of or we can say the SWOT analysis is being done, and on the basis of that, the coaching process has been started. Second step, coaching happens in conversations. Obviously, whosoever is the coach, whether inside or outside, he or she is going to have a deep interaction with the concerned employees and talking about their issues and accordingly taking the corrective actions. Third step, effective coaches offer ideas and advice in a way that subordinates can hear them, respond to them, and appreciate their value. Last but not the least step is, step 4, follow-up is critical to closing the deal. Definitely whosoever is the coach, whatsoever the advice or suggestion or the activities which are being carried out, but it is also very much essential for the coach to follow up with the employees, that to what extent they are following the orders or the instructions or the paths or the guidance which is being given by the coach, whether it is actually being followed by the employees. Are employees actually executing those talents, those guidance to their real workplace? That is also a major cause of concern. Here in this slide, I would be telling you more, deeper about the basic difference between coaching versus mentoring. You can also have a glance on these slides, please. Coaching is always task-oriented, whereas mentoring is always relationship-oriented. Obviously, coaching always looks after the task and accordingly gives the guidance and instructions to the people. But whenever we talk about the mentoring, it is more, towards the relationship building aspects. Coaching is always for the short term because it is always related to the task related assignment, which keeps on changing because every assignment has certain time duration. It may be for the short term, it may be for the mid term, or it may be for the long term. So accordingly, coach is being hired either from inside premise or from the outside, and once their task is being done, they move towards another project. Coaching is always performance driven, whereas mentoring is always development driven. So dear students, you really need to understand the main difference between coaching and mentoring, that coaching is always task related, whereas mentoring is always, development related. Coaching can be done as needed, as and when employees need a coach to get the directions, Accordingly, coach is being hired or recruited, or he is being taken from inside, and no design necessary. One more thing that you need to understand, that you need to keep in mind, that no design is necessary, whereas in mentoring program, design needed to create effective programs. So whenever we talk about the coaching, there is not as such no program design is required, but in mentoring, there is a great need for the program design. Manager directly involved in coaching, whereas mentoring manager involved only indirectly. So if we talk about the manager, because as I just told you, even a manager can also be a coach. Even a manager can also be a coach, or coach can be a different person. He may exist within the premises, or he may be taken from outside. Then in coaching, performance is more easily evaluated and measured for ROI. And in mentoring, it's less easy to measure for ROI, because as I already told you that mentoring is always the development oriented, and it is a lifelong process. A person can get associated, remain involved and engaged with his or her mentor throughout the life. It is completely based on the liking and disliking of the person regarding the mentor. And in coaching, feedback by coach to manager about the progress, and in development, whereas mentoring, no feedback is given to the manager. So in coaching, this is also one of the responsibility of a coach to give the feedback to the concerned manager about the progress of their respective employees. In coaching, the coach is paid for services. Obviously, coach gets paid, whereas mentor may be paid or may not. Is more on business related issues, but in mentoring it is more oriented towards the personal and professional development of the person. Then the next point is coach leaves the organization once done. Obviously, as I I'm continuously repeating this fact that coach always comes for a specific assignment, whereas mentor and mentee remain in organization and can provide mentoring to all those who are requiring the ideas and suggestions and guidance from the mentor. In coaching, corporate culture may or may not get affected because coach comes for a very short duration, but whereas as far as mentor is concerned, he remains connected with the company, he remains connected with the organization, and he definitely influences the corporate culture, the culture of the organization. Coaching is done one-on-one, whereas mentoring may be done one-to-one, or it may also use many more models. In coaching, content expertise is more important, whereas in mentoring, interpersonal skill is more important. As I just narrated, that a coach comes for a specific assignment, a coach comes for a specific project, a coach comes for a specific task-related activity. So there, the content expertism is very much required. But whenever we talk about the mentoring part, this part is not. Interpersonal skill is much more important in between mentor and mentee. Coaching is about behavioral transformation. So at last I will be concluding about coaching and mentoring that coaching is basically an activity which brings forth behavioral transformation. Whereas when we talk about the mentoring, it brings forth the personal transformation. So this way I completed coaching and mentoring in detail. And now I think that students, you must have learned a lot about coaching and mentoring. And if you have any query regarding these issues, regarding these topics, you are always welcome. So to start with, the next method of on-the-job training is the job instruction training. As the term is itself referring, job instruction means the immediate supervisor or the manager is going to instruct about the conduction of, or we can say the completion of a particular job in a step-by-step manner. So here, as you can see the slide, that job instruction is also known as step-by-step training, in which the trainer explains the various steps or various ways of doing the jobs to the trainee, and in case of mistakes which is being committed by the trainee, it is the task of the manager or the supervisor to correct them. Talking about the advantages and disadvantages of the job instruction training. Advantages: employee safety. When the employees will be well versed with the new technology, with the new tools, with the new innovative ideas or concepts, or it may be related to any aspect of the organization, when they will be more well versed towards these things, then obviously employee safety will be enhanced. Increased productivity, cost effective. Obviously employees will be learning, they will be more systematic, they will be more knowledgeable and learning to use various kinds of skill sets or concepts or technology or tool or machinery. So this is going to be very, very cost effective, and obviously they will be able enough to meet these standards. But when we talk about the disadvantages, here trainee feels reserved about the work, restricted area of work, because it is completely concerned with a specific kind of job or with a specific kind of task. So obviously employees will be getting the instructions related to that task which has been given to them at hand. So they feel more reserved because they cannot ask any query beyond that parameter, beyond that criteria. Then the next part is the committee assignments. As the term is itself referring, committee means it's a group of trainees, it's a group of people, and they are being assigned a particular task, and basically this kind of training methodology is being used to increase, or we can say enhance, the decision making skill, to see their planning part, to see their decision making part, to see their leadership initiatives, and to judge many other attributes of the training. So a group of trainees are asked to solve a given organizational problem by discussing the problem and this helps to improve the teamwork. First, it is being given on an individual basis, and once each and every individual has completed the training session, or that particular issue has been given to them, then it is being discussed on a collective basis, and they listen to each other, and this enhances their listening ability, this enhances their communication skill, this mainly enhances their leadership skills and decision making skill also. Talking about the advantages and disadvantages, here you can see that advantages are improves the employee interrelationships, build team spirits, deals with real organizational problems. Obviously, when number of people are working together, they are working together and they are solving a particular issue by having a discussion among them. So definitely at the same time they will be having a good bond. They may have a good bond with each other. At times conflict may also arise, but it is again the responsibility of the immediate manager or the supervisor to look after those conflicts or disparities, and ultimately working in a team, working in as a healthy team members. Talking about the disadvantages, it can't always reach to the conclusion, create hassle among the employees. It is not always like, because I just told you in the beginning of the session that an organization consists of diverse workforce. When we talk about the diverse workforce, mean people having different mindset, different thought process, different eating habits, different dressing pattern, different attitude, different perceptions, but ultimately they are working under one roof to attain the common organizational goal. So all their disparities, all their distinctions are kept aside, and they all are supposed to work together with a lot of zeal, with a lot of zest, and with a lot of enthusiasm, because ultimately they have to attain the organizational goal, and as per their own domain expertism, because that in any organization, marketing, HR, finance, production, supply chain and various other activities are being taken into consideration. Then the next on the job training method is the internship training. As you all are management students, and you must be watching that even in our college and in the other management and engineering colleges, different companies come in campus to recruit and select or to hire the candidates. So what happens that here the trainees or the interns not only get the theoretical insight, but they also get the practical insight about the various activities of an organization based on their specialization, based on their specific domain. So under this training, interns are given theoretical and practical insight about the actual organizational activities. Basically, students are from engineering and commerce background are given training and also get small stipend. It differs from company to company. At times they may get stipend, and at times they just get the experience, and that is also very, very essential to be competent in this cutthroat competitive competition which is existing in the market. And in internship training, the trainees get the proper guidance, practical exposure, improves productivity of the organization. So basically, ultimately, all these training methodologies, whether it is the on-the-job training method or off-the-job training method, it is ultimately is there to enhance the effectiveness, to enhance the knowledge, expertism, skill of all the employees, so that they can give their maximum, they can give their best to the organization. Good morning everyone, I am Dr. Meenakshi, and today I will be covering a session on training methods. As I have already covered various related issues, but a few examples like Amazon is there. Amazon is having around 3 lakhs employees all across the world, and it also conducts 1 month intensive training program on leadership development, whereby for the new hires, whereby all the employees do learn various kinds of skills, and they get the information and knowledge about the various kinds of products. And apart from that, Amazon also believes, in the strategy of giving the ownership to its people, where people can really feel motivated, they can really feel inspired, and have a deep sense of belongingness by having a feeling of ownership, so that they can give their best to the company. Apart from that, I would also like to narrate another example of AT&T. AT&T also, by seeing the cutthroat competition of the global market, and based on the environmental scanning time to time, which keeps on taking place on political front, pestle front, political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal, it brings forth with several kinds of training programs. And it is also coming up with several leadership program and motivational program, and various other employee developmental programs. Apart from that, AT&T it has also established AT&T University, which, along with the collaboration with the Georgia Tech and Udacity, it is coming up with several postgraduate program in computer science, as well as data analytics, and many other short duration programs. It imparts to not only to its employees, but it is also benefiting several other people on the global front during the hiring process. And this is the best way to make the people more and more competent to look after the people, and making them more competent as per the need and requirement of the global market. My dear students, today I covered all the methods, or I can say majority of the methods which are being included in on-the-job training methods. And in my next session, I would be covering off-the-job training method. So with this, if anybody has any query, you can ask me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and see you in the next class. God bless you all.